So before it came out, my father sent me some trailers of a movie called The Machine. I totally forgot about it after that and never went and watched it. Well, the other day I was scrolling through looking for something to watch and I saw it yet again and was like, dang, that's that movie that Dad wanted to watch. Let's go ahead and watch it. Plot of the movie is basically there's a guy named Bert, played by a comedian named Bert, that makes a lot of comedy skits talking about his time as The Machine. The Machine was his party name, right? The name he was known for whenever he went to Russia and knew all these references and jokes of American culture and American media that Russians didn't know. Using those references, he decided to build a persona that is The Machine. Well, long story short, things go wrong. That moniker of The Machine then becomes his criminal name as well because he ends up doing a train heist. He's forced into it, but he becomes known for it as well. One of the items that gets stolen on that train is a watch that belongs to the mob. The father of the mob, the leader, he was just a normal businessman, and that watch was literally the only thing of value that mattered to him. So whenever it gets stolen on this train, he decides, screw it, if no one's gonna stand up for the little guy because he calls the police and they never do anything, he's going to become the big guy that picks on the little guy. Push comes to shove, he's now the mob leader. Well, fast forward to the future, we are, 20 years in the future, I believe the movie said, and Bert has a wife and kids now, and he's retiring not only from The Machine, but from comedy as a whole. He's not going out and doing any more stand-up sessions or anything like that. He's ready to settle down, be a father, and actually work through his problems. Well, that's what he says anyway. He goes to therapy, as we see in the literal first scene. This isn't a spoiler. He goes to therapy, but he doesn't actively go out of his way to actually try to fix anything. Instead, he goes more to justify everything, to have excuses for why he is or isn't doing certain things, saying he's making a change, look at the progress I've done, but there is literally no proof besides what he says, and he's a very unreliable narrator. It all becomes uprooted whenever he's at his daughter's sweet 16 party, I think? Something like that. And he makes it entirely about himself, which causes friction in the family because he literally just took them to family therapy to brag about everything that he thinks he did right, and then he learned absolutely nothing out of everything that the family brought up about how he affects them. So she decides, screw you, Dad, I'm gonna go spend my birthday the way that I originally wanted to spend my birthday, the way that I told you I wanted to spend my birthday, and you never even cared. So I'm out. Peace. Which really hurts Bert's feelings because everything's always about him and he's incapable of actually seeing what he did wrong. He knows he did something wrong and it hurts him. He hates that he did. He's like, oh, stupid Bert, but he never really actually goes out of his way to learn what he did wrong. So he goes into a building by himself, drowning himself in his own self-pity whenever his father comes in, and I think he's trying to offer some semblance of support, but it's not going very well. Bert keeps telling him, just leave, I need to be alone, I want to be alone, please just give me a minute, Dad, and his dad does not take a hint. You see where he gets it from. But the party of two becomes a trio pretty quick whenever the blonde bombshell pops her head in and goes, hey, I'm the mafia, I need that watch. Bert doesn't have the watch, which causes her to go, okay, I'm going to kidnap you. You know that DJ you hired? He's gonna hang around your daughter until you help me find this watch in Russia. Your daughter's life is gonna be in danger. Try to call the cops, try to run away, she dies. Cool? Cool. And that's when the adventure unfolds. The reason the watch is important is because of the power struggle that causes everybody to want to be the head of the mob. All the leaders' kids are competing to find the watch in order to win favor so they can inherit all of it, which causes her to have to go up against her brothers because she wants to be the leader. It's a whole big mess, but now you pretty much figured out what's happening. You're looking for a watch while also trying to find it faster than somebody else. Now that I've laid that foundation as rockily as I possibly could, let's go ahead and talk about the characters. So I already brought up Bert. I brought up the fact that he is a comedian and stuff, but what really matters about him is the fact that he gives me Subaru from Re:Zero vibes in the way that his mentality works. He goes to therapy as an excuse to say, hey, look, I'm trying because I'm going to therapy. The majority of the movie is also him doing things or not doing things, saying things or not saying things, just so he can have the excuse of, oh, I didn't or I did do it. Not because he actively is going out of his way to make any real positive impact. The major development throughout the film is the fact that he actually starts standing up for himself and figuring out who he is, as well as standing up for other people and caring about them more outwardly than he does care about himself. It shows that he has a good heart the entire time, he just doesn't really use it, and as he develops you start to see why. His backstory is honestly pretty good. The entire story of the original robbery and how that is incorporated into the plot through flashbacks does a good job balancing who he was out with who he is. There's a great comparison here, and I'm not going to go through and spoil a lot of it, but it does a good job touching on who you want to be and bridging that with who you are. Mark Hamill's character, the dad, I think his name's like Albert, he's Rocky for me. I like this character by the end, and I don't believe he did anything innately horrible throughout the film to make me like hate him or make you hate him even, but he kinda just does whatever the plot needs him to for a large portion of the movie. He adds to some really good comedic moments, which each character does, and he does get a fairly decent redemptive portion of the movie where he can go out of his way to try to redeem himself, and he does a good job throughout the film building up to those points, but he definitely wasn't the star of the show, and there's nothing really too memorable that he says or does. Mark Hamill does a good job being an actor, obviously, and he does a great job at this part. He just isn't my favorite character in the movie. My favorite character, though, is Ivana. Is that her name? Frick, I forget. The blonde Russian girl, okay? That's my favorite character. I don't remember her name, even though she says it multiple times. I think maybe if she didn't say the whole dad blame name, it'd be easier to remember, but oh well. She has a great entire plotline, honestly. I love her backstory, I like her characterization, I like the fact that she is a strong female character without making the rest of the characters worse to boost her up. She's actually a character, I know, mind blown. She doesn't discount anybody on what they've been through or what they've done. She listens, she seems to actually have a good heart and actually care, even though she's also, I don't know, a cold-blooded killer. Throughout the film, she gets the best action scenes, has some of the most out there comedic moments I ever thought would happen, to the point that it was completely, she had me cackling. She's got probably the baddest bad bud scene. I just really liked her. She was a really good character. In Hollywood, they have really been screwing over female characters by making them pretty much awful. Honestly, that's the best way I can say it. The majority of movies I've seen so far either have the female characters not being that great, but all the guys around them are worse, which is supposed to make them look good, or making them so good that everyone around them is worse, making them overpowered, making them a plot hole, especially in the MCU with Captain Marvel. I mean, she was outwardly and outrageously strong, and she had so much narcissism that it was hard to care about her. This character here, she feels like a real character. Yes, she has an ego, but she has earned it, and her ego is not outwardly big. She has confidence issues based on the fact that her father is treating her as if she's less than everyone else, or that's what it seems to be. She has skills, but she never truly feels like she's good enough. There are a few moments where the writing itself fumbles with her character. Like there was a point whenever she goes, "You're stupid. The world is changing now. Women have power." Yeah, that's really bad. They're treated equally, yada yada yada. And it is so ham-fisted in those moments because they're completely unnecessary. They build her character up well enough that she doesn't need to tell you that she can have the same amount of power as you, because she portrays it. I don't know whose decision that was. That was so stupid to write that in there. It's something that you would see in one of these really awful shows like frickin' She-Hulk, where they take her character and they need her to preach. Those preaching moments did hurt her character a lot because they weren't necessary, but there was just a couple of them, and they didn't come off too bad given the rest of the context of the movie. Just wish they weren't there. Let your characters' actions speak for themselves. They don't need to preach to me for me to have respect for them. The villains fare far worse though. Her siblings are pretty one-dimensional. They're very one-note. I don't really care about them in any way, shape, or form. There's nothing memorable about them, no reason to talk about them, and although they do pop into a couple scenes and have a couple good funny moments moments and do villainy stuff, that's about all they got going for them. I don't really care about them in any way, shape, or form, and I'm not gonna waste any more time on them. Let's talk about the comedy aspect. I laughed a lot. There is a lot of really funny jokes in here, a lot of funny situations, a lot of times where the humor lands well. But when you bring in the action part of the action comedy tag, that's whenever it doesn't blend together as well. There are some very good action scenes with some great choreography, but it's hard to get an adrenaline rush whenever the pacing gets broken every once in a while, whenever it slows down every once in a while so we can have something funny happen. It also really hurts the stakes because when something funny does happen, it's completely unbelievable and very unrealistic. It doesn't go into Fast X territory, thankfully, but it's noticeable whenever it happens. That being said, I do believe that the mixture that they're trying to have here does mix together pretty well. It did make me laugh more often than not, and if you turn your dad blame brain off, it's not going to affect the action scenes too much. Overall, I recommend the movie. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought that it was very slept on. Like, I don't know what y'all are doing, but your pillow must be hard. This is a very good film if you just want to turn your brain off and have some fun. If you're sitting there trying to critically review it, you're probably going to see all the flaws here and there. But if you just want a fun movie with a lot of heart, I can wholeheartedly recommend this one. Now, I don't know if Bird has said something unpolitically correct, and maybe that's why people aren't watching this film, but Mark Hamill's in it, and the man can't be anything but politically correct, so I have no idea. I don't know what's went wrong here, but y'all should check it out. At least give it a look if it's on a streaming service somewhere or you see it for a couple bucks down at Walmart. Dude, just give it a watch. It is fun. For more news, reviews, and whatever we choose, stay tuned to Nerdsfeed. Have a great day, and thank you for watching.